Very happy, very happy. I think to come here and get a bonus point, especially after the last time we went to a kick, the last kick of the game to win it. Obviously when Hendricks missed that kick. So to go and turn that around 3 weeks later and get 4 tries and a bonus point and a win is, obviously not many teams have come here and done that. So obviously very happy with that. Very happy with them. Yeah, we obviously, we're getting to the point where we have guys like Goosen and Akka van der Merwe, 2 Springboks on your bench. That's quite a nice. Again, it just reiterates everything I've been saying. You need that kind of caliber of play in your squad if you want to play at the highest level. So, and you saw what they did. Both of them came on, played really well, took charge. Akka was fantastic in that second half when he came on. So, yeah, it's very happy with the way the game ended. Wasn't happy with the first half. We were a little bit flat. But we were in a change room. It's quite bizarre. We were in a change room and the aircons don't work at Ellis Park, So I think we're probably a little bit flat because we sat in the change room there. We thought we wouldn't go out because it's hot on the field, and only found out that aircon's not working in our change room. So we were hotter in there than we were on the field. That's why we decided to stay out at half time. It was better out there than it was in our change room. Heard from the Lions guys it's load shedding. So guys writing that up. They don't play any rugby in their half. They're not dangerous. They didn't put us under pressure once in multi-phase attack this week and the last time. It was obviously Mohamba's sidestep in the first game, and third try we dropped over our try line behind our in-goal area. Today it was a chip kick and a bounce. It wasn't like we were under the pump 5, 6, 7, 8 phases. So yeah, I don't really agree with the fact that we, like you say, they run from everywhere and all that. They probably play the least amount of rugby than of all the teams we play against. Yeah. Well, Alric got a bit of a bang on his AC, and again, we've got big weeks coming up. And we're just fortunate we had 2 loose forwards on the bench. So to bring Mpilo on quickly didn't change much, because, as I said, if you have 2 loose forwards, there's no use keeping one guy on, at the expense of getting even more injured. So, the call was quite simply, as soon as he said he felt a little bit sore, we just, we backed Mpilo, and he's played well again, Yeah, I just suppose we had a little bit more attitude today. I think we had a little bit more attitude about, and we probably got a bit of a fright last time we played them at Loftus, and we made mistakes. We made mistakes. I'm not taking it away from the way they played, but as I go back to Nohamba we're missing him on the halfway line. They go and score. The next one, David Kriel drops the ball on the try line. I think the third try. I'm trying to think how that third try came about in that first game. Can anyone help me? Third try they scored against us. It was also a mistake. It was also a lapse in concentration. It was the overthrow when Marius Lowe ran through and scored from that line out. So, again, not put under pressure, multi-phase, not put under pressure. Basically an overthrow try, drop it behind the in-goal area, and let Mohamba step on the halfway line. They go and score. So I suppose that the difference is we're just a little bit more aware of that today and took that away from them. Made sure that they, the very first time Marius Lowe carried, he knocked the ball on running into that midfield. Whereas a week ago, the last time we played, he made yards, carried, got quick ball going forward, and it was obviously a lot more difficult to mark in that game. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm happy you've got 4 tries, and I'm happy that moments we looked really good. But it was sloppy. At 5-3, it wasn't really a spectacle of how you sell the game. In fact, I saw Altman Ollis at halftime. I was walking down. He said, "Gee, it hasn't really taken off this game," and he's right. It hadn't. You look at the way the game started, penalty in the first 10 seconds for cutting a guy off. Then we lost the line out, knocked it on. Then, they got no rhythm to the game. Then they got the ball, knocked it on. We got the ball, they knocked it on. We knocked it on. So I don't know if the ball was slippery. I don't know if it was the weather like that, or whether or not we, as I said, we were tired from sitting into a change room that's got no aircon. Yeah, look, you use whatever you can to motivate your team, I think the one thing we always talk about is, if we use the golf analogy, you play on a Friday to make the cut. It's incredible pressure because you've got families to feed, etc. The golf pro feels pressure like that. But the real great pro golfers are the ones who walk down the 18th on the final day and can win the tournament. That's the pressure you want. So when we look at the log and we top and we've got our destiny in our own hands, and it's pressure because people that want us to do well, or people want us not to do well because other teams are trying to catch us. And that's a completely different pressure that we enjoy. I enjoy the fact that we're on top, and I enjoy the fact that we're dominating, and I enjoy the fact that when we don't play well, we score 4 tries. There's a lot of things that you can be positive about So yeah, I mean, I hope I'm answering your question. It is something we do talk about, because the other pressure is not pressure you want. Relegation pressure and fighting for your life, and that's no team wants that pressure.
Obviously, you guys have built up some good momentum. You got your sort of bogey team next at Loftus.
Yeah, it's not my bogey team, guys. Again, I must put on record, I read a great article the other day. I don't think the Sharks have beaten the Stormers since 2015. And yet all we write about is how many times the Bulls have lost to the Stormers. So it's definitely not a bogey team,
But happy with the momentum going into the game?
Yeah.
You guys are going to be very confident going into a really big club?
I'm sure. Enjoying the fact you got bonus points, enjoying the fact that we're near the top of the log. Got a couple of senior players coming back as well. A guy like Will Carlo. As soon as he's back, it changes the dynamic of our scrum as well. And I thought today we scrummed really well. I mean, we put them under the pump at scrum time. So to answer your question, we also learned a little bit of what they did against us the last time. And you saw today the scrums were completely different. So there's definitely learnings that you take. One of the things that I think is nice is when you play a team back to back. So in the European Cup, when I used to coach long ago, you used to play the same team on 2 consecutive weekends, and it changes your coaching, because whatever you think is going to work, you have to bring up something else. Whatever did work, you've got to try and make sure they don't expect it anymore. So the thing I'm really chuffed about is that we played them 2 consecutive weekends, and I think today's score was, 25. So it's 55 points we've scored against them in 2 weeks. That's not a bad return, scoring 55 points against the Lions in two weekends.
Morgan, Coach, my question is a follow-up to that. Basically, you've also got this weird fixture list where it goes up and down.
Yes.
So how do you keep that momentum going? And how do you? You want to obviously be playing week in and week out, especially now that you're generating.
Yeah, I think, Morgan, the one thing you got to do is change your squad. Like again today, and it's not. I mean, Goosen on the bench, Marcel on the bench, Akker on the bench. There's 3 Springboks on the bench. Maybe a year ago I would have said, listen, put all the Springboks on, let's hedge our bets and hope we put the best guys on the field for the longest period of time. Whereas I think you find now that when you're playing so many comps in different competitions in different places, one in -2, one in 35 degrees at 3 o'clock kickoff, you got to I suppose be a little bit more open to the fact that there's you need to change the energy of the group. And I think that's one of the things we took what we've done well this year, is that a guy like Francois Kloppers came on today. It's the first time he's played for us. We've tried Kutum Chunu, we've tried Wilco, we've had Morne Smith. Now today we had Francois Kloppers. It just brings enough different energy to the group, and he did well. I mean, he scrummed well. So what that does is creates competition. No one knows who's going to be playing against the Stormers now. I'm sure you guys didn't think that we'd put Goosen on the bench and Marcel on the bench for this week, and that also sends the right message to the other players, because you're saying, look, I trust you enough to play, and that's something we probably haven't been good at in the last couple of seasons. Exactly that, enemy. Sometimes, I suppose I've been doing this for so long, you get a gut feeling, when is the right time, and that's one thing that I think if I ever had to teach coaches is you can't pre-plan that. You've got to have a feel for, there's a difference between the science of coaching and the art of coaching, and one thing I've learned is you can't tell a player when there's 20 minutes, left, you're going to go on, because that might be exactly the wrong time to put someone on. I've seen that many times. So very happy the coaches were all on par. Bounce it off the forwards coaches. I bounce it off, even at half time. What should we do? Who should we change? Remember, we've got a 6-2 bench. We've lost Ulrich early on. Thank you that you say that, because you sometimes get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, and that definitely worked in our favour by having the bench we did and the timing of how much game time they got. So that also helps me for the next game, because we have 2 weeks off. So you also needed your bench to have significant game time. Otherwise, you also fall behind in the next fixture, because some of the guys haven't then played. Yeah, I think the one thing I was really happy about is we had 62% possession. Territory, probably 50% possession, which meant we played in the right part of the field. We just shot ourselves in the foot a few times. Yaku never found touch for that corner flag. Gave them a scrum. We had a 5-meter line out, lost it. We had another 5-meter line out. The maul, we fell apart because, someone fell down as we were mauling towards the try line. And those were opportunities that we should have taken. And I'm glad that the second half they trusted the fact I said to them, you've got them under the pump, it'll come, you just got to keep believing. I think to be fair, Ashfaq, I think we're a little bit scared in the beginning to play. If I look at that kick, of Devin Williams when he kicked it dead. I don't know why he didn't run. He runs the 100 in 10.5. It's almost like he got spooked by the fact he didn't want to play any rugby. And I think in the second half, when we started to even play out of our half, we looked dangerous. So very chuffed at the balance of the way we played in the first and second half is sometimes you've got to do the hard yards in the first half. And I think you're right. Sometimes the way we put them under the pump in the beginning, even though we didn't concede, didn't get tries, they felt that they were under pressure.
Last one, Ashfaq. Are you happy?
Keenan and Kirtley hardly got the ball in those games, so there's also a chance for them still to contribute in the Stormers game.
Interesting thing, Ashfaq, you're right. That's the one thing but it's quite interesting. That's the one thing I learned as a coach is that when you bring players back, it takes a while for them to find their feet. And that's why I spoke about the substitutions, because there's no use. You put a guy on with 6 minutes to go and then you expect him to play against the Stormers when he hasn't played for 2 weeks and he's only played 6 minutes in those three weeks. So they weren't, they didn't get the ball as much as they'd liked. I think it's part of our tactic this week is that we wanted the Lions to have a crack from their own half, which they're obviously they're not doing this season. They're not playing any rugby in their own half. And they do it successfully. They've done it well. So it was a balance between we wanted to have a go and we wanted to use those guys, but sometimes you've got to just change the way you play when we get into these knockout games. And unfortunately, the Lions and the Stormers game are knockout games because, as soon as that's like a 10-point swing today. If the Lions beat us by 5 points, it's 10 points that we have to catch up. So we probably thought a little bit differently. So they didn't touch it, you're right. But you never know. When we start again, when we play again, they might be called on to do a little bit more.
Cool. Last two questions, one from Morgan and then one on the ground.
Break.
You never know. It's like, it's chicken and egg. Sometimes you play a lot, you get game hardened. Sometimes you have time off. We had a lot of time off and we played really well in the second half today. So, I don't think there's an exact science, Morgan, on, you only know after the next fixture, and I'm talking about after the Stormers game, whether you needed another game. So I don't think, as I said, I don't think it's something that I can say, wish we had it. Otherwise, we can organise a friendly against someone, but I'm not convinced that the way we've been planning, that we now necessarily need to change things that are working for us anyway. Yeah, I do. Obviously, that's the thing I'm happy about. Obviously, I've repeated what I said, is that Francois Krupp is coming in now. It's the fourth tight head prop we've used. Reinhard Ludwig's a 21-year-old lock who's growing every time he plays. Cameron Hannekom's a youngster, 21 years old. Look how he's developing because Gumedi's putting pressure on him. So, the nice thing is, we're in a good place. Obviously, we need to keep everyone injury-free, and we need to make sure that we build towards playing our best rugby at the back end of the competition. But there's no reason why we can't be happy about where we are now. A lot of positive boxes that we can tick now.
Of course.
Sorry, I stand corrected, but
and what can I say? I'm hoping that he works. Not every person that leaves the Bulls becomes a Springbok. Sometimes we keep guys back and they also become Springboks. So I'm hoping that he'll play well enough and he'll get a crack at being brought into the national setup again. I know he's rated highly, and I know in the way he's playing now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to see that he adds value. So let's hope that in the year he carries on playing and he gets some opportunities.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.